Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to take a fully spoilery look at Transformers EarthSpark Episode 13, Security Protocols. And there is just so much in this episode, so much world building, so many plot twists, so much just really punch you in the gut emotional weight, and even so many, well, quite frankly, off-color jokes that are going to go right over the head of the target audience, but we'll get to that later. This episode just really illustrates the varying quality of writing, where we have some episodes that seem to be, at least on the first watching, at least your first watch through the season, seem to be quite shallow. You really just have the surface stories going on. But then you have episodes like this that are just layered and layered of depth, and you get to look at how the war tore Cybertron apart and how you have conflicting values fighting each other within the humans of Ghost, not even counting Dorothy Malto. And you've got fun plot twists and mysterious symbols. And yet, despite the overall high quality of this episode, there was a glaring moment in the writing that just stood out, and I honestly don't know if it was meant to be ironic or if they changed the dialogue after the fact, or what was going on there. But there is just one glistering blister of a poorly written scene right in the middle of this really stellar episode, and it's just driving me crazy puzzling out what happened there. So we are going to get into all the spoilers. To give you a chance to click away, I'm going to tell you to go check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird, Let's Work It Out, or my other book, Dying Embers, Dragons, Aliens, and Things That Go Boom in the Night. Now, chop chop, the spoilers are racing around the track, headed right for you. So, plot A, Pop Malto and Bumblebee get in trouble with Ghost. Plot B, all of the kids get caught in the bunker because Nightshade has the mind of the genius and the hard life experience of a toddler. This is a pretty typical situation where when you need a certain percentage of the team out of the question to avoid complications to the episode, you keep them locked in a security bunker. It's been done, but it makes a lot of sense. Nightshade and Hashtag together just don't have the experience to have advanced this bunker system to where it's reliable, and it comes back to bite them in the aft. So we've got that going on under the Malto's barn. Now, the main point of the B-plot is emotional development for the characters. We get a lot of look at the deep, dark fears and how each of the sets of siblings is maturing emotionally and physically as the story goes on. Now, the suspension of disbelief that I'm questioning here is where Hashtag and Nightshade are getting the raw materials and complex hardware to build up this bunker. They distinctly do not have access to the resources of Ghosts unless they're stealing them, which I think we would have seen hints of by now. All of this is pointing to the fact that this bunker, with all of its hardware and equipment, the massive blast doors and everything, was pre-existing, unless Bumblebee is found scrounging it from somewhere. But again, why hasn't the bunker's pre-existence been mentioned before now? And anyway, all of this is just the B-plot. The A-plot is focusing on Pop Malto and Bumblebee trying to escape a trap that Ghost has laid. We learn what the official line is, that Bumblebee disappeared during the war. We learn that Ghost considers him a rogue Autobot rather than a Decepticon, but they're very suspicious of why he disappeared from the Autobots. And then we get what was a very well-written twist that reveals why Bumblebee has been risking running around racing at these racetracks. And his reason kind of cuts pretty deep into how closely this particular franchise is looking at the emotional and familial cost of a civil war like the one that Cybertron experienced. This is where the show actually gets pretty deep, looking at the difference between good guys, bad guys, and opposite sides during a civil war. We've got some fun jokes leading up, especially the visuals. Watch the brand names on the sponsors on the side of the racetrack because there's some pretty funny jokes in there. Keep your eyes open and remember that you might not want to explain every one of the joke brands that you see lining the walls of the racetrack to any children under a certain age. But then we get to the giant festering issue here. There's just this one scene that really bothered me for some reason, just because of how poor quality it stood out from the rest of them. You have supposedly, in this situation, Ghost is sneaking onto this racetrack to lay a trap for Bumblebee. And theoretically, they are hiding in plain sight, but they're not. It is obvious that the racetrack is crawling with ghost agents, and I don't just mean obvious. There is literally no other humans at the racetrack other than ghost agents in full ghost gear, with the ghost vehicle sitting around in the parking lot and the ghost agents filling the stands. And they look like they're there to have a good time. They're eating, they're chatting, they're laughing, but they're obvious ghostly ghost agents. And Agent Glasses pulls up to Pop Malto, sits him down in the stands, and they're conversing, and then Pop Malto goes, "Are all of these ghost agents?" or something to that effect. And then Agent Glasses explains the plot to him like it isn't blindingly obvious. And the way that Agent Glasses is talking, he thinks he's still going to spring an unexpected trap on Bumblebee. And at this point, I was desperately hoping for this to be a plot twist or something, and it not to be playing out straight, because they're literally, there's a giant 100-person SWAT team sitting in the stands in full body armor with their guns out. Nobody's hiding anything, but all the characters are acting like this is some sort of a subversive secret operation, and they expect Bumblebee to just fall into this trap, but it's not even a trap. Nothing's hiding it. This is clearly just an area crowded with heavily armed human agents, highly trained to attack Cybertronians. Now, unbeknownst in the episode, unbeknownst to Ghost, unbeknownst to Pop Malto, there's not just Bumblebee has to be there. He has a moral obligation to be there. The moral obligation manifests as a second Cybertronian who's also going to be there. So even if Bumblebee knows that it's a trap, he still has to go, which he does from the beginning. But again, even the two characters that are walking the trap act like they don't actively see the trap around them. And the other character is just the other Cybertronian who falls into the trap is just criminally stupid. To the point that I am questioning whether his goal wasn't deliberately to get caught. Though before he arrived, I can't see how he expected to find the ghost agents there. We know that Soundwave deliberately got caught in order to release Ravage into Ghost headquarters. And if the Decepticons are trying to build up the Combiner again, yeah, they need everybody in one place. So it's plausible. It's just barely plausible that the character who was the reason that Bumblebee had to be there was deliberately attempting to get caught, and Bumblebee's attempt to save him was just Bumblebee being overly innocent and interfering with this other character's plans. But still, that all circles back around to Pop Malto and Agent Glasses sitting in the stands, both of them pretending that there was any concealment about the trap, again, with dozens if not hundreds of ghost agents in full combat gear, sitting in the stands ready to go. Given what little I know about digital animation and editing, it's possible that they designed the scene with an actual regular human crowd in mind, and they actually had the ghost agents hiding or cloaked somehow. and then they just ran out of time to animate. And I'm hoping it's a technical issue like that, because if it's a writing issue, it's so glaringly bad. It has no business being in this show. And again, I hope they just ran out of time and money to animate individual characters in civilian clothes, because if not, it was just a painfully stupid scene. And even their target audience, no matter how young that kid is, they're going to look at that and say, why do they think they're hiding? Why wouldn't Bumblebee and the other character just see the ghost agents crawling all over the stadium and leave? And I hate for this, for to have such a major issue with a scene in what was otherwise such a good episode that dealt with such deep themes and had such beautiful animation. There was something about the movement and the way the camera was just playing over flight and action that shows they really poured a lot of the animation budget into this one episode, and it shows. And why would they pour so much effort into writing such a multi-layered, deep episode with such a strong emotional resonance and such beautiful, complex animation, and then just leave such an objectively bad scene in? I just don't know. It is bothering me, probably more than it should have. This is a production after all, and sometimes there are errors in production, and you've just got to forgive it and move on. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Am I making too big a deal out of what was after all, just one poorly written scene, and that could easily be explained by a lack of technical resources at crunch time? Tell me what you think. Why were Pop Malto and Agent Glasses talking like there was any hope of this being a trap that would actually catch anybody with two brain cells to rub together when it was obvious what was going on? And for now, just hit that like and subscribe button. Go check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, Dying Embers, Dragons, Aliens, and Things Go Boom in the Night. And peace out, my wonderful viewers.